Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't fit, not in his country, not in his sport, not in Hollywood, not in politics. Every system he entered sent the same message. You don't belong here. Most people hear that once and adjust. Arnold heard it repeatedly and decided the system was wrong. That decision cost him comfort. It gave him leverage. Arnold grew up in a small village in Austria. No wealth, no influence, no imagination allowed. Ambition wasn't encouraged, it was mocked. The expectation was simple: live small, stay in line, don't dream too loudly. Arnold didn't rebel loudly, he disconnected quietly. And that's important because most people don't fail from opposition, they fail from absorption. Arnold refused to absorb the limits around him. Arnold discovered bodybuilding not as vanity, but as proof. Effort in, results out. No opinions, no politics, no permission. Every rep was evidence that discipline could override environment. He wasn't building a body, he was building certainty. Certainty that he could shape outcomes through repetition. That belief changed everything. If stories like this don't just inspire you, but make you question limits you've accepted, stay here. This is The Golden Lining, and I'm Kush Nathu, and I tell stories about moments when people stop negotiating with their environment. Arnold stopped negotiating early. Arnold didn't want to win competitions, he wanted irreversibility. He trained until outcomes felt inevitable because inevitability removes anxiety. When you know the results before the event, pressure disappears. The mindset followed him everywhere. And it's why he didn't cling to bodybuilding, he used it. When Arnold announced he wanted to act, people laughed. The accent, the name, the body, they told him, "You'll never be taken seriously. You'll never lead a film. You should change who you are." Arnold didn't negotiate because the moment you negotiate identity, you signal weakness. So he stayed visible, stayed consistent, stayed patient. While others tried to fit roles, he waited for roles to fit him. Here's the part most people miss: Arnold wasn't emotionally attached to approval because he had already detached from his origins. Once you've emotionally left your environment, rejection loses its power. Hollywood wasn't rejecting him, it was rejecting an idea that hadn't arrived yet. Arnold understood timing. That's rare. Arnold didn't rely on acting alone. He studied business, invested early, bought real estate because confidence without fallback is fragile. He wasn't chasing fame, he was building optionality. That's why he could wait. That's why he didn't panic. And that's why he never begged. Years passed, small roles, dismissal, incremental gains. Arnold stayed visible without being desperate. That balance is almost impossible. Most people either disappear or become unbearable. Arnold stayed inevitable. This is where the real separation happens. Before fame, before power, before authority. This is the phase where identity is tested without reward. Arnold didn't rush it. He let time do work. Arnold didn't break into Hollywood by fitting in. Hollywood adjusted because it ran out of excuses. The accent didn't disappear. The name didn't change. The body didn't shrink. Instead, the system recalibrated. That's an important distinction. Arnold didn't win approval, he created inevitability. When enough people show up consistently, refusing to change, the environment bends, not out of kindness, but out of necessity. That's now power actually works. Or that how it works. Most people mistake Arnold's confidence for arrogance. It wasn't. It was leverage. Because confidence without leverage is noise. Confidence with leverage is gravity. Arnold never needed acting to survive. He had businesses, real estate, cash flow. The freedom allowed him to wait. Waiting is easy when you're secure. It's torture when you're dependent. Arnold engineered independence early so he never had to beg later. That's not ego, that's strategy. When success finally came, it didn't feel sudden, It felt overdue. Roles stopped being auditions, they became negotiations. But Arnold didn't soften. He didn't try to become more likable. He became more specific. But it also is unforgettable. Generic talent competes, specific identity dominates. Most people would stop after conquering one industry. Arnold didn't. He pivoted into politics. And once again, the same message appeared. You don't belong here. Wrong background, wrong accent, wrong rules. But Arnold had already learned the pattern. Belonging is overrated. Power doesn't ask permission, it accumulates. So he entered politics the same way he entered bodybuilding and film, without apology. People were just skeptical. They were offended because Arnold exposed something uncomfortable. Most limits aren't enforced by rules, they're enforced by fear. Fear of embarrassment, fear of rejection, fear of being told no. Arnold didn't lack fear. He just refused to let it decide for him. That unsettles people who've made peace with their ceilings. Permanent reinvention isn't glamorous. It means being misunderstood repeatedly, being criticized by every side, starting over publicly. Arnold paid the price willingly because stagnation felt more dangerous than failure. And that's a mindset very few people can sustain. What most people never see is how boring this actually is. Consistency, repetition, long timelines. Arnold didn't rely on motivation, he relied on systems, training systems, financial systems, decision frameworks. Motivation fluctuates, systems don't. That's why he outlasts peers in every arena he entered. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Limits don't disappear when you complain about them, they disappear when you outgrow them. Arnold Schwarzenegger teaches us this. You don't need permission to reinvent yourself. You need tolerance for discomfort, ridicule, and delay. Every time you step into a new arena, someone will tell you it's not for you. That's not guidance, that's resistance. And resistance is confirmation you're moving. Arnold never belonged anywhere fully. Not in his hometown, not to Hollywood, not to politics. That's the cost of refusing to shrink. But what he gained was rare range, agency, control over his own narrative. He didn't become great by mastering one role, he became great by refusing to be defined by one version of himself. If this story stayed with you, don't stop here. Click on the next video on your screen. It's another golden lining story about people who refused to inherit limits they didn't choose. I'm Kush Nathan, and this is the golden lining, and this is where reinvention becomes power.